Michael King makes history in his first postseason start. The Padres dominate, and they just put Major League Baseball on notice. The title is coming home, San Diego, so we'll break it down and much more in this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Welcome in, Padres fans, to 3 Up, 3 Down. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, and we are going to be breaking down the masterclass win by the San Diego Padres. The offense went a little bit cold after A.J. Smith-Shawver went out of the game, but still, you can't complain about a 4-0 victory in your first game of the postseason. And Michael King, there were no jitters whatsoever. In his first career postseason start, he made history, which we will get into in just a second. But before we do that, I want to let you know that 97% of you watching these videos are not subscribed. So go ahead, hit that sub button. It would mean the world to me. And let's break down this amazing win that the Padres had tonight. Let's get straight into it. Michael King is the first pitcher to have 12 Ks with no runs and no walks allowed in his first career postseason start. Now, usually we see some stats here when we talk about history being made that are skewed and kind of a reach that don't really matter. But this right here, this matters. Michael King was absolutely dominant tonight, and he could have even came out for an 8th inning. That's how good he was, and the Braves just had no chance. I know that Jason Adam came in the 8th inning, and that's no easy task either, but they must have been thrilled to get Michael King out of that game because there was just no chance they were touching him. And you look at the thumbnail of this video, those were the kinds of swings that he was producing all night long, and it was just a masterclass out of Michael King. Michael King has some of the most aesthetically pleasing stuff in baseball. Nothing straight. Looks like he's throwing wiffle balls, and I couldn't describe it any better. Shout out to Robert Orr for that tweet right there. It's true. I mean, Michael King just manipulates the baseball in ways that not many pitchers can, and you can talk about Juan Soto all you want and the season that he's having in New York, but the Padres would not be where they are today if it was not for the brilliance of Michael King and his 200-plus strikeouts in the regular season, and him just being the absolute stud that we knew he could be. Now, he has really turned himself into an ace. There's no doubt about that, but he was a reliever for the Yankees. So he was coming in to San Diego, and it was a bit of an unknown. Like, what are you going to get from Michael King? We saw him start a few games with the Yankees there towards the end of his time, but nothing of an increased sample size. So it was a question mark heading into this season, and with some of the injuries that happened in the rotation, like Yu Darvish having to go out and Joe Musgrove not really being himself in the early portion of the year, Michael King stepped up, and he was arguably their best starter, if not their second best starter, behind Dylan Cease. So it's been a great season for him. I'm glad that he got the ball in Game 1. I mean, a lot of fans were clamoring to see Dylan Cease tonight, but it ended up not mattering. Michael King stepped up when it mattered most. He took that ball confidently, and he absolutely shoved against the Atlanta Braves, who are shorthanded and are not the same Braves that we've seen in the past half decade, but I don't care. I saw enough today from the San Diego Padres that makes me very confident in their ability to win a World Series this year. It hasn't happened in their franchise's history. Everybody is due for one. And what better year than a year where the National League seems wide open? And I think the Padres are going to be able to get this thing done. Still a long way to go. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to get on the bad side of you Friar fans here. But how can you not watch this tonight and think, wow, this is a team, man, and they are coming together. And this is another thing I wanted to touch on. Fernando Tatis goes yard, and Petco Park is rocking. So I saw a tweet saying, let's not forget that Tatis is a superstar, and we got to treat him as such. And they're right. They're right about that. He hit an absolute nuke in the first inning that set the tone. And I'm trying to remember. Who it was. I think it was Jay Bird. He's one of the more loyal listeners on this channel. Jay Bird was saying in the live stream that I had before the game that the Padres need to get off to an early start and that Michael King would throw 7 scoreless innings. He was bang on his assessment. I don't know if he has a crystal ball. Maybe he could feed me a little bit of information, get me out of the gutter financially. No, in all seriousness, no. That was a great call there by Jay Bird, and that's exactly what happened tonight. The Padres got off to an early start. AJ Smith-Shawver making his second start of the season, so he only threw four and a third of an inning in the entire year. He went down with an injury, went down to the minor leagues. He was recalled for this start in the postseason. So, really tough spot for the kid, and I thought he did okay, but he just doesn't have the stuff to get through this Padres lineup. And you could tell that they really needed Chris Sale out there. Ultimately, he's not going to pitch in this series, which is a huge W for the San Diego Padres. But you play who you play, and you play him when you play him. And the Padres played fantastic tonight. Even though they didn't do much against the Braves bullpen, that worries me a little bit heading into game two. But we know the stat that 87% of teams that win game one in the wild card series end up winning the entire series. So I'm very confident. I think the Padres are definitely going to get at least one of the next two, but I expect them to wrap it up next game with Dylan Cease on the mound. And the way that this Atlanta Braves lineup is struggling, I mean, I just can't see them getting anything going of substance against Cease, not the way that he's been throwing the ball. Michael King's night is over. That is one of the best postseason performances of all time. It's time to extend him for life, Padres. And then you see the stats on the season there, just absolutely dominant across the board. A 13-9 record with a 2.95 ERA, over 200 strikeouts, like I mentioned there, and 173 innings pitched. Like, that is great for a guy who was made the majority of the time last year a bullpen piece for the New York Yankees before they actually thrusted him into the rotation because of injuries and whatnot. So he was great tonight. It was fantastic to see him shove the way that he did. And just a very impressive performance overall. Nothing too flashy by the Padres. I mean, the pitching and the defense was great. There's no doubt about that. That's what wins you ball games come playoff time. But timely hitting, Fernando Tatis coming up in a big spot in the first inning. Instead of grounding out or doing whatever, he hits a big home run and he sets the tone. Petco Park is absolutely erupts, and that place is jumping. We know that when the Padres do well, that place is unlike any other venue in Major League Baseball, and they showed out tonight. They showed up, and they showed out in large numbers like they've been doing all season long, and that is going to be critical moving forward for this Padres team. They need as much support as they can get, and guarantee yourself that they're going to get it, because Padre fans are some of the most loyal and faithful fans in the world of any sport, and they showed up tonight. So shout out to them. Shout out to the Padres for an unbelievable performance in game one. I think they're going to wrap up the sweep tomorrow with Dylan Cease on the mound and head into Los Angeles on a high note. I know that they lost the series at the end of the year and they had a chance to win the division. It ultimately didn't happen, but all roads are leading to a rematch there, and I think the Dodgers are very scared of the possibility of playing the San Diego Padres, and I'll keep you guys covered every step of the way. Some great games today. Shout out to the Detroit Tigers for picking up a W with Tarek Skubal on the mound. Future AL Cy Young winner for sure, no doubt about it. And then the second game saw some fireworks. Cole Reagans with a great outing. Then Bobby Witt Jr. coming up clutch in his first ever postseason game. They beat the Orioles 1-0. And then the Mets coming out of nowhere after playing a doubleheader yesterday. They dismantled the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee after traveling from Atlanta. I mean, just a great story there. The Mets feel like a bit of a team of destiny as well, but I don't think anybody is going to stop the Padres the way that they've been playing in the second half. That'll wrap it up for this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Thank you guys so much for making it this far. Again, make sure to hit the subscribe button, because 97% of you watching these videos are not doing so, and it would mean the world to me if you can go ahead and do that. We're very close to my goal of 1,500 subscribers. And we're not too far away, so help me get there. And thank you to Baseball Town as well for sponsoring this video. Would not be possible without them, so check them out today. They're your one-stop shop for everything that you need, baseball or softball related. They got you covered, the best equipment at the most competitive prices. They got 3 locations in Canada. And if you're not in Canada, which if you're watching this video, you probably aren't, they ship everywhere, worldwide. So check them out today on baseballtown.ca. And I'll see you tomorrow. Let's go, San Diego.